Welcome back to the Joe Schmo Experience. Let's get into it. Right, I am pumped to be here. I am pumped to record. Now, as I am filming this, recording. As I'm recording this, it is, June 23rd on a pretty Sunday evening in California, Central Valley. It's about 107 outside, 107, hot as hell. It's hell. That's what it is. It's an oven and it's hell outside. So that's what we got going. Anyways, so I am pumped to be here. If you guys are listening to this now, my first episode dropped just now, and not just now, but it dropped, a few days ago, and it's at 0 plays, so it's going to be really good. Now, remember, I'm not doing any promoting at this particular point. I am just banking episodes and recording, so I really have no clue how it's going to go. My biggest episode to date, my favorite one, it's really my second one. My most favorite episode is the one you heard last week with the church camp. Just wanted to clear a few things up about the church camp story because I figured people are going to be a little upset. I just want to preference. Every church camp is not like the church camp I went to, the one where they shot guns at us and released dogs and whipped. They didn't whip us, but would you be surprised? I wouldn't be surprised, right? I mean, I needed a good whipping back then, but maybe not from, someone telling me I was, God. Anyways, I wanted to point out on this podcast episode that the stuff you heard last week is my experience, but understand it's not obviously all my experience. There are plenty of stories, and you can go on Instagram to Surviving Hume Lake. That's the Instagram name, and they have tons and tons of stories. I would love to be part of a documentary. I've never done a documentary before, but I think it'd be freaking sick. All right. I'm just saying, call me for a documentary. You guys want to do a documentary? Call me. I'm down for it. So anyways, today's podcast doesn't really have a goal or a view in mind. We are just kind of chit-chatting about some things, some news, and just kind of talking about, life in general. That's what we have to do sometimes. We have to just talk about life. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, in case you guys don't know, I have a podcast, or had one, called Chip Happens. By the time you hear this podcast, because it will come out, let's see here, June 26th is the Hume Lake episode, and July 3rd, happy 4th of July, everyone, is when this episode that you're hearing is going to drop. All right? Now, due to recording, episodes are recorded kind of when I have time and then released in an episode. Now, if I have to drop one on surprise because of something cool happened or whatever, yeah, I might do that. But for the most part, I'm going to stick to this weekly Wednesday schedule. I think it's going to work out pretty good as we go along. So I plan on doing a lot of recording, talking about a lot of things that really mean something to me, and sharing some pretty funny stories with you guys because I got a lot of them, right? Do you know I was stalked from a girl from Nevada and beat by her on Tinder? Yeah, I didn't know that either. Well, I mean, I did know that. I guess that makes no sense. I did know that because it happened to me, and we're going to hear the story about how I got catfished some point, right? So I have a lot of stuff I want to share, a lot of experiences and just unique things that have happened in my life that I feel like, some bored person might want to experience, might want to live through, right? It's a good time. So as we move on, just talking about news and things that are happening, it's July 3rd. Today is when you're hearing this episode. So that means next week, the Paris poop protests are happening. Joe, what are you talking about? Yeah, people are going to shit in a river in Paris. All right. So to give you kind of a backstory, this was supposed to happen today, but they postponed it from what I understand. Right now, the Olympics are going to be at the end of this month in Paris. Okay. Now, they're is a river in Paris. I'm assuming. I've never been to Paris, but I'm assuming it's pretty awesome. Called the Seine River. Seine River. The Seine River is a pretty basic river. I don't know why I paused there, to be real honest with you. That was weird. Anyways, the Seine, I'm going to call it Seine, but it's probably wrong. I've heard it pronounced 16 times. But the Seine River goes right through Paris. And from what I understand is that where they that's where they dumped their sewage back in the day. So if they had like overflow sewage, they would just dump it in the river, you know. So this river has been unsafe to swim in due to like bacteria and E. coli levels. It's been unsafe to swim in for centuries, really. Centuries? Yeah, 100 years. So it's been banned for over 100 years to swim in. Well, the country, France, the city, was like, we're going to clean up the river, and we're going to do a event in the river. They want to do the triathlon, I believe, in the river, right? So triathlon is essentially 3 sports. They have to swim, bike, and then run. That sounds like a fucking nightmare. Holy shit. You would never catch me. You would never catch me walking in a triathlon. All right. But I just want to say, so anyways, back to this whole deal. Looks like people were taking water samples and they showed 2 types of fecal bacteria, I don't know, bacteria, which is E. coli, right? It gives you really high in E. coli, which is cool. It didn't meet the standards for the game, so that's going to be great. So the people were pissed, right? Because they invested the equivalent of American $1.5 billion. Again, I did not hesitate. $1.5 billion Paris dumped to clean a river that has never been cleaned before. So people are pissed, and they're saying, the French president and the mayor of Paris are saying that it's going to be clean and they're going to swim in it first, right? And, well, the French people, God bless, they're going to shit in the river. Yep, you heard me right. They're going to take a dump in the river. They're going to drop the kids off at the pool, as my dad would say. You know what I'm saying? They're going to give birth to another brother, because all I have is brothers. My dad was going to drop another one off at the pool. Okay? Taking a shit in the river. So it's, stuff happens. Okay. Anyways, they even have an app or a website where you can type in your address and it gives you the perfect amount of time from when the lake, the river flows down with your shit, so that when these politicians are swimming, they can get your shit in them too. All right. That's incredible. Americans are pretty wild. I can't imagine Americans pulling something off like this. I feel like instead we would just, shoot up a school or something. I don't know. But what I'm more, that was a bad joke. I apologize. What I am more pumped about this whole thing is that they are dead set on shitting in this lake. Like, there was already people recorded yesterday shitting in the river, not the lake. Sorry, the river. All right. And then they ended up moving the protest. They postponed it because the politicians weren't going to swim in there. See, these French people didn't want to just shit in there just for the fact of shitting in there. They wanted to shit in there when their president and their mayor were in there. They want to shit in the river then. So they ended up postponing it. We'll see if that even happens. I'll try to keep you guys updated on the big shit protest. They said it's going to happen July 12th, potentially, is when it was postponed, because looks like the president said that it was political differences is why he's not swimming in there. That's weird. Real weird for me. Anyways, a lot of differences, right? A lot of differences there for sure. So as we move on, the Olympics are obviously one of my most favorite things, because this is the only time where you can actively root for people playing weird sports, like not normal, like fencing. No one's going to a fencing match. I don't care if you listen to this, but I go to a fence match all the time. I actually fence for fun. No one is doing that. Now, if it was like pickleball, I don't understand. Pickleball's not a sport technically in the Olympics' eyes. Neither is American football. All right. So as we go on, I think the Olympics are a great time to kind of learn about other kind of sports like handball. I had no idea handball was the sport that it is. See, back when I was a kid, we would play handball. We would hit the ball against the wall and we got to bounce once on the ground, right? And then you would have to serve it back to the wall and hopefully it bounces again. And you would try to screw up your friends by doing like a short move or like a really long, power bounce, and they would run back. And then if the kid missed, what they would do is they would get on this wall, all right, that wall ball. They would get on the wall, and then you would take the ball, and they would turn their back towards you and stick their butt out. Then you would take the ball, and you would throw it as hard as you can at their rear end. Come to think of it, that is a very weird statement nowadays. I am not sure if kids get to do that. Can someone verify? Someone tweet me. Are kids still playing butt ball? That's what we called it, was butt ball. Right, but it was really effectively handball or wall ball and then butt ball. But we got banned playing, all those games all at once, right away. So that was kind of lame. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, the Olympics are a big deal. Talking about another big deal. Smokeless tobacco, Zyns. There was a fire at a Zyn factory, right? And yeah, whoa, hold on. I'm reading this article right now, which I think is hilarious. So I like to partake in a couple Zyns every now and then. Forgive me, Father, for I have Zynned. And you know what, man? It's pretty cool. Get your little lip buzz on. That's what NBC News says. Well, now Zyns are being, not necessarily recalled, but they're having a stop sale essentially. Philip Morris, the people who I believe own Marlboro, also owns Zyn. Zyn's like the next big thing in tobacco. And, tobacco's a good thing. Well, I shouldn't say good thing. That was bad. I didn't mean to say that. I meant tobacco is that's about as American as you can get, to be real honest with you guys. Like, that's the reason why we came over here was tobacco. You know what I'm saying? That wacky tobacco. So, moving on. Now, there is a Zyn shortage, and it looks like there is a fire at a Swedish match factory. What? Okay, hold on. It says there was so Zyns are obviously not American, they're Swedish, and there was a fire at the Swedish match factory that may have affected supplies, but it actually doesn't affect supplies. There's a Kentucky facility. Okay, I'm actually reading more about that. I thought I understood, but I guess I didn't. Company vast majority sells subpoena. So anyways, what is happening with the Zynpocalypse? Zyn itself is stopping online sales because of alleged selling in Washington, D.C., which, like California, banned flavored tobacco products, which is super cool. Because it says that they say that the flavors are what's getting kids addicted to Zyns. I would say that is not actually what is getting kids addicted to Zyns and vaping. It would definitely be social media influencers. Right, when I look at social media influencers like myself, who choose Zyns, people are actually going to want to, because I'm the biggest name out there. I'm just kidding. Right, but if we look at let's look Joe Rogan, for example. He has people on all the time talking about Zyns. Right, if you look at a big YouTuber, maybe Nelk, right? They're also on Joe Rogan. They're everywhere with UFC. Now they have their own seltzer water for some reason. Happy Dad, right? Those people are kind of creating this drive for Zyns, which is where a lot of the kids are getting them from, and they like the head high that Zyns do. It's not like marijuana or whatever. And even when we go to schools and we look at chewing tobacco in schools or just tobacco in schools, right? That was a vastly different world back when I was a kid to now. I mean, I'm 28 years old. I graduated high school in 2013. We didn't even have vapes. The first e-cigarettes were starting to hit the markets where I was from in about 2013, right? And that was an e-cig. That wasn't even a vape. So with marijuana, what kids would do is they would hollow out one of them apples. You know what I'm saying? They would take an apple, they would hollow it out. I don't know how they would do this, but they would hollow it out and they would make a bong out of an apple. Apple pie. You know what I'm saying? Weird, right? Wild. They would make a bong apple bong jeans. They would take this, and so you walk into the bathroom, you see a soggy ass apple right on the ground, right? And you can smell just skunk. You know what I'm saying? You see that soggy apple smell skunk, you know someone was getting an apple pie. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that goes to my boy Kyle. Kyle, cool dude. Shout out to Kyle if he's out there. Kyle, I just dropped something on my foot. That really hurt. Okay, Kyle was kind of your local stoner in high school. He wore like a beanie. He was a typical white kid, flannel shirt. Looked like he definitely shopped at Aristotle or Tilly's or any of those places. Definitely rode a skateboard. He shredded, you know what I'm saying? And Kyle was in my geometry class. I was kind of a nerd. I was a little bit advanced, and there was me and Kyle, and we sat next to each other in this class. And then Kyle one day comes up to me, like taps me on the shoulder. And I'm like a little freshman, and Kyle is I think he's a junior. Kyle goes, dude, smell this. And he like pulls out a bag in the middle of class. There's weed in the bag. I'm like, Kyle, what are you doing, dude? Like, the teacher's going to see you. He goes, no, dude, just smell it, dude. What does it smell like? And I'm like, is that Sprite? And he goes, and? I'm like, Fruit Loops? He goes, Sprite and Fruit Loops, bro. He goes, I made the perfect smell to mask weed. I was like, no shit, Kyle. I said, that's awesome. He goes, can you guess how I made it? And I'm like, you combined Sprite and Fruit Loops? He goes, oh, dude, how do you know? And it turns out Kyle had like childhood cancer. I had no idea. That's why he smoked so much, was to, at least have like an appetite, that sort of thing. And Kyle was a cool dude. I was definitely misunderstood. He was really cool, and I kind of wanted to be like Kyle, as like a nerdy kid. He was kind of a jerk, but always kind of nice at the same time. It was a weird situation. Kyle ended up beating cancer, so that was cool. And then it came back and sadly took his life. So shout out to Kyle up there, man. That was a way to change the mood of this podcast pretty much immediately. But yeah, no, I really respect Kyle, and I respect the Sprite and Fruit Loops, man. Pretty awesome. Okay, so as we move on to chewing tobacco, so that was the weed situation, right? Now, there's some schools like Hollister High School, when I was going through high school, who had signs saying no chewing tobacco allowed. And I was like, that's weird. People still chew tobacco. And then I worked on a cattle ranch for a summer. And I don't know if you know this, but there is nothing to do on a cattle ranch. Nothing. Right? You're sitting there fixing fences, wondering why your life has to be this way. Right? Until someone slides you over a can of Copenhagen. Right? And you're like, oh, okay, I understand what we have to do now. I understand the assignment. You know what I'm saying? I got that Copenhagen now. All right. And so I started dipping Copenhagen. And it was exhilarating, right? The little spit, that sort of thing. I would do it like throughout high school. Junior year of high school, I'm getting ready to do a competition. I'm like dipping moderately. Nothing crazy, just moderate. And right before a contest, or right before I was about to give a speech for a speaking contest, I like popped a little lip in. You know what I'm saying? A little lippy lip. A little lip dip. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I took a dip, or I packed a lip of Copenhagen, and I was kind of pacing back and forth trying to memorize my speech. And my teacher walks out, and he looks at me. He goes, "What's in your mouth?" I said, "Oh, it's just gum." He goes, "Oh, okay, cool. Swallow it." I was like, "No, I'll spit it out in these bushes right here." He goes, "No. He goes, "It's just gum. Just swallow it." I said, "No, it's really okay. Like I don't, it's fine. Like I don't want to, like, it might hurt my stomach, And he goes, "Oh, okay." He goes, "You're either swallowing it or you're not competing." And I was like, "Oh, fuck. Okay." Well, I swallowed it. And I cannot tell you how many shades of green my face must have turned, but my God, I was puking. All right. I ended up getting third place in this contest out of 3 people. So I got last place effectively, but I got a sweet ribbon. It was honestly terrible. I don't recommend doing that. Right. But so we didn't really have smokeless tobacco. I mean, we had like chewing tobacco. We didn't have smokeless tobacco. We had like the snus pouches that was about really starting to come out when I was graduating. But Zyns were not even around, and they're kind of a new thing. And so now we have kind of a problem, right? Should kids be doing nicotine? I would say no, right? There's plenty of studies to prove that nicotine for children or for people under the age of 18 can potentially cause brain damage, right? And there's also studies that, people over 18 that do nicotine can help with Alzheimer's and that sort of thing. I don't know, man. We really need to research more of just nicotine. A lot of our studies really came from the tobacco kind of side and all of the additives in the cigarettes. And that's where a lot of the cancers came from. But I would say just straight Zyns, they could potentially be good for you. But then again, we don't really know like exactly what's inside, so they could really honestly be bad for you as well. So it really just depends. Long story short, if you need some Zyn pouches, better stack up now, because it looks like they're kind of going out of style, just a little bit. All right. So as we close today, which is cool because when I record this thing, I have no idea how long this podcast is. I would assume it's a good amount, right? But I have no idea. That's the only issue with these podcasts. I don't know how long I'm actually going for. And I think that's really the root of this problem. I'm going to have to figure this one out. Let's see here. Oh, time. Time. There's no way I'm on a minute. Oh no, I'm in 20 minutes right now. Oh my God, what did I even talk about? Jesus. Well, anyways, I'm hoping that I can spend the next few days just kind of banging out some videos not videos. Gee, why do I keep saying videos? You're like, Joe, where's the videos at? You keep saying videos. Maybe if I get enough follows and listens, I'll start filming some videos so you guys can see this shitty space I'm in. But for now, I figure we can just crush it with some audio. All right? Anyways, I would say as you guys venture out and continue on, shoot me some topics you guys want me to talk about. I don't want to spoil all the topics, for you guys, but I do have a good set of notes for some topics to kind of discuss. And let's look right now at our topics here. Yeah. So, oh man, dude, there's so many, right? So many. Oh yeah. Anyways, I don't want to give out too much of it. I do have some small announcements at the end of this podcast today. As you're listening, this will be week 2 of my transformation. Now, I know you guys can't really see me, but I struggled with weight since I was a kid. And maybe I'll talk about a little bit of a weight loss journey, but right now I am starting to venture on a little bit of a weight loss journey to lose some weight. I'm working with a dietitian. It should be pretty good, but I want to talk about some fad diets and talk about my experience with all things Ozempic. Should be pretty fun, right? Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. I think that's going to be a good time. It's going to be some good episodes coming out. I do want to start some things like buying shit on the internet so you don't have to. I do own a lot of things, and so I want to make sure we try some out, right? Also, I want to start a book club as well, right? These will be in addition to these episodes, a weekly book club. I plan to start in August, reading a chapter a week and just kind of following along. If you want to follow along and get through with the discussion, that should be pretty good. But I think some book clubs will be pretty fun, some little self motivation, sort of things that should be pretty good. So take a look out next month this month sometime of the announcement of the book that we were going to be diving into. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Wednesday, hump day. Make sure you go out and ride a camel or hump someone, or ride a camel is what I meant. And have a great rest of your Wednesday. Peace out, guys.